Picture this. A couple who once treated every public appearance like a blockbuster premiere suddenly throws an iron curtain over the single event the world most expects them to share: the births of their children. Not the Netflix deals, not the red carpet selfies, not even the courtroom victories over British tabloids. When it came time to welcome Archie and Lilibet, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex pivoted from oversharing to lockdown secrecy so fast that even seasoned royal watchers missed the whiplash. At first, the blackout felt like a harmless quirk, another glamorous pair demanding privacy while simultaneously signing 8-figure content contracts. Then the paperwork surfaced, the questions piled up, and a 23-year-old Colorado woman whispered that she was paid to carry the second Sussex baby and then vanish. What began as social media chatter is now a slow-moving scandal with legal teeth, brand-breaking potential, and one explosive premise. The fairy tale birth story may be fiction. It all starts with a form so ordinary most parents forget it exists: the birth certificate. Archie's British document originally listed his mother as Rachel Meghan Markle, a standard entry. 11 days later, that line was wiped clean and replaced with a title: Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. No first name, no surname, just the honorific. Royal mothers before her, Diana, Catherine, even the late Queen Elizabeth, left their full names intact. Meghan alone chose erasure, and she later claimed palace officials forced her hand. If that's true, one has to wonder why the monarchy would order the mother's identity removed from her own child's legal record. No explanation emerged, and the palace refused every press query. The choice looks less like a clerical tweak than a strategic opening move, one that would make sense only if future documents needed similar plastic surgery. Lilibet's paperwork raises even bigger alarms. What the public saw in 2021 wasn't California's final, state-sealed birth certificate. Instead, reporters received a certificate of live birth, the provisional form hospitals hand parents, before the state files the permanent record. On that preliminary document, Harry isn't listed as Henry Charles Albert David, the legal name that appears on his passport and military records, but as His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex. In America, that title carries no legal weight. You cannot register a child, obtain a passport, or claim custody with an alias, royal or not. If the permanent certificate mirrors the provisional, Harry possesses no legal parental rights on U.S. soil. Correcting such an error requires a simple amendment, a signature, and a $25 fee. 2 years later, no amendment appears in public registries. Lawyers who specialize in family law say leaving that line uncorrected can only be deliberate. Why risk a clerical time bomb? Enter Colorado. Unlike California, which often lists a surrogate on the first version of a certificate, Colorado allows intended parents to appear alone. No surrogate mentioned, no subsequent amendment required. Multiple celebrity couples have used the state for precisely that reason. Now fold in an unconfirmed but persistent rumor. Early June 2021, days before Lilibet's official birth date, a young woman delivered a healthy infant at a Denver area hospital, signed airtight NDAs, then disappeared from social media. In the same week, Harry was photographed in Aspen, mallet in hand, smiling through a charity polo match. A Spento Denver requires a hop shorter than a commuter rail ride from London to Windsor. Add the missing paperwork and the dots connect too neatly for coincidence. Health narratives muddy the picture further. Meghan revealed on her podcast that she suffered postpartum preeclampsia following Lilibet's birth, deadly in her words. Yet paparazzi captured her days later strolling Montecito, no IV scars, no blood pressure cuff, no sign of the fatigue that typically floors women after such a crisis. Around that same period, hospitals across California were enforcing draconian pandemic restrictions: single support person, mandatory masks, rotating staff, and full PPE. Yet, the couple released a softly lit birthing suite video that played more like a lifestyle shoot than a medical event. No masks, no staff, ambient hotel lighting. Viewers recoiled. The hospital later confirmed every delivery that month followed strict protocols completely absent from the footage. Was it promotional B-roll filmed elsewhere? Repurposed as a glimpse of labor? The Sussex team never clarified. Public affection tells its own story. In interviews, Meghan speaks of Lilibet with warmth bordering on reverence. Our miracle girl, she calls her, while Archie often gets a perfunctory mention, a stock clip, or a back-turned photograph. Body language analysts note the consistent difference. Open, lingering eye contact when she speaks of Lily, a subtle distancing when Archie's name arises. No mother loves her children equally every waking second, but the pattern is pronounced enough that veteran royal reporters whisper another possibility. Lily is genetically Meghan's, possibly via donor sperm, while Archie arrived through a more complex arrangement that left the mother-child bond frayed. Pair that with long-circulating speculation that Harry's childhood hernia surgery affected his fertility, and the emotional asymmetry gains a plausible biological root. Let's rewind to July 2020, when Meghan penned an op-ed describing a heartbreaking miscarriage. 2 weeks later, photographers spotted her outside a discreet Beverly Hills clinic, known for both elite dentistry and fertility retrievals. She carried a small, insulated pouch identical to those used for cold storage medication during egg harvest recovery. At the time, fans chalked it up to a dental checkup. Fertility specialists now suspect otherwise. The Duchess may have been preserving eggs or transporting genetic material in preparation for surrogacy. The timing syncs perfectly with a June 2021 Colorado birth. Add the Oprah interview, the Netflix docuseries, and the Spotify podcast collapse, and a pattern emerges. Whenever the Sussex narrative falters, it's reinforced with a dramatic anecdote that melts headlines but withers under archival scrutiny. Meghan said she was denied mental health treatment, yet her husband spearheaded Heads Together, a royal initiative encouraging exactly the help she claims was refused. She implied racism kept Archie from becoming a prince. Royal protocol states great-grandchildren of the monarch do not receive HRH status until the reigning sovereign dies, which is exactly what happened after Queen Elizabeth II passed, at which point Archie and Lilibet's titles were granted automatically. She insists she never pursued Hollywood deals while royal, but leaked emails show negotiations with Netflix and Spotify months before Megxit. Each revelation erodes public trust incrementally, until even once innocuous oddities, like a missing legal name, feel radioactive. If the surrogate truly did sign an NDA that's now fracturing, the consequences stretch well beyond tabloid embarrassment. Under U.S. law, a biological mother who relinquishes rights under duress or fraud can petition to void the agreement. A paternity mismatch, even for royalty, invites a DNA challenge, court-ordered testing, and potential custody litigation. British titles granted on the assumption of bloodline legitimacy could face parliamentary review. Netflix, having plowed tens of millions into the Sussex dream, would scramble to repackage episodes or cancel future seasons. Every brand partnership, from fashion capsules to mental health apps, relies on authenticity. A proven lie would poison endorsements overnight. And what of Harry? Imagine discovering in open court that your legal name appears nowhere on your daughter's certified birth certificate. Imagine further that the state of California regards you as unrelated to the child you've paraded before global cameras. One court filing from an aggrieved surrogate could strip a prince of parental rights faster than any British tabloid ever could. For a man who fled royal protocols to protect his family, losing them through bureaucratic negligence would be the cruelest irony. Skeptics argue the tale veers into conspiracy, that Meghan and Harry are too media-savvy to orchestrate a hoax destined to implode. Yet those same skeptics quietly admit the couple's own inconsistencies birthed the rumor. If they had announced, "We're using a surrogate, we're thrilled, respect our privacy," the world would have moved on. Modern audiences applaud openness. What triggers suspicion is evasion, the whiff of a secret packaged as empowerment. In an era when celebrities live stream embryo transfers, covering up a surrogacy feels less like protecting children and more like manipulating sentiment. The Sussexes didn't just withhold details, they replaced them with curated illusions. A maskless birthing video during a pandemic, a motherless certificate, a father disguised behind a title that means nothing west of Heathrow. Silence, however, cannot hold forever. NDAs crack, hospital staff gossip, a single county clerk can leak a certified document for the price of a latte. The Denver rumor mill spins louder each month. Investigative reporters have begun filing FOIA requests in Colorado and California. Meghan's former staff, once bound by royal discretion, no longer answer to Buckingham Palace and have started whispering to biographers. Every day the certificate remains unreleased, the story metastasizes, and the couple once hailed as modernizing monarchs slide toward the territory of cautionary tales. None of this proves wrongdoing, but it renders the official narrative untenable. Either the Sussexes present the final unredacted birth certificates, names spelled out, signatures intact, dates matching hospital logs, or they allow speculation to devour the legacy they're desperate to monetize. One document could end the debate. Its absence roars louder than any Daily Mail headline, which brings us to the final, uncomfortable possibility. The silence is intentional because the truth undermines everything: podcast confessions, streaming contracts, philanthropic branding. If the children arrived via surrogacy using donor material, public empathy might not waver. But explaining years of misdirection, legal sleight of hand, and brand-driven theatrics will. The revelation would reframe the Oprah tears, the Netflix slow-motion home movies, the righteous speeches about privacy violated. It would expose privacy as product, curated for subscription fees, then protected with the very NDAs Meghan once condemned. So we circle back to the opening question. Why would a couple who monetize every victory refuse to clarify the single story people care about most? Because somewhere between Windsor tradition and California reinvention, the Sussexes built a house of cards atop a missing certificate. And until that paper appears, every silence counts as evidence. Every carefully staged photo becomes a clue. And every day the mystery grows louder, threatening to drown the fairy tale in its own echo.